know. I like
magically
that.
it gets
There's all sorts of fancy stuff going on here today.
Come on in. We're going to talk about. We're talking hormones.
Oh,
Pull
yes.
up a chair here close to the TV.
Right. Oh, we don't have enough time.
Well, it is an hour
not.
show. We could fire the other guests.
Sure, okay.
Dr. Martha Durham is with us, and Doc, welcome to the show again.
Thank you. Thank you for having
You're
me.
a standard, I think, once a month or so.
Yes,
and,
sir.
We're talking hormones. You say boys and girls have different hormone levels, and they start at
Yes.
different ages maturing?
Yes. Adolescence is about a 10 to 12 year period that gets you into your mid-20s, but puberty is a 1 to 3 year period that starts all that off.
Wow.
It can start as early as 9, which is really kind of scary. We don't know why that's happening.
Right.
There's some theories out there. We don't know why that's happening.
It's in the food.
Maybe. Some people
I'm
think all the
thinking.
hormones in food.
Sure.
Seriously, but I don't know the research data, so I want to look that up before I say it.
Okay.
Sure.
But there's interesting ethnic differences as well. Caucasian girls start about 11 and a half. African American girls and Hispanic girls start a year before that.
Earlier.
And Asian girls start a little bit later than that.
Interesting.
And we're trying to figure out why that occurs. And then boys start a year after all the girls.
Yeah, we're the late bloomers.
Figures.
Yes.
Figures.
Yes.
That's why when you're young, you're like, no.
Yes.
Catch
You
up with us.
girls,
Catch
you
up with us
girls are so
maturity-wise.
special, but you can be hard to handle, especially at that age.
Well, let me tell you, girls in particular get a bad rap because boys do this too. We just show it in different ways. There's a lot of moodiness, and that's hormone driven, but it's also culturally driven. We have all these messages for girls and boys of who they should be. Girls are supposed to be, look a certain way, a certain size, be sexy or not sexy, depending on where they are in their development.
Sure.
Boys are supposed to be strong and leaders, and not everybody is, and it's sort of a false idea of who we should be.
Stereotype.
Right. Well, what happens is your body's changing. You've got all these moods going on. You start judging yourself and putting yourself down, and then you have these wild mood swings. The worst thing we could do is make fun of them or not be understanding of them or add to the cultural messages they're getting.
Sure.
All women are not supposed to look this way or that way. All men are not supposed to look that way or this way. It just doesn't make any sense.
And you know, I remember when I was younger that my emotions, like feeling angry.
Yes.
I felt like
And not know why you're angry?
much more angry than I ever get
Yes.
now. I didn't have as much control over that.
That's right.
And so, you know, I think with my nieces and nephews, I've always been careful to remember that, how
Yes.
different it feels as an adult after you've
It
had a little bit of
does.
time to adjust to, you know,
Yes.
controlling your emotions.
You're talking about women and image, and it's
Yes.
they're beaten to death by television.
They are.
Image.
Men too, though. I have boys, and I see that little boys who do certain things are praised, and little boys who don't are made
Sure.
fun of and picked on. More sensitive males and less sensitive females are treated differently.
Think boys bully more than girls?
Actually, no, I don't. It's different bullying. Boys are more physical and aggressive, and girls are more verbally bullying and emotionally bullying.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what do we do as parents to prevent those highs and lows? Can
Well,
we just...
I don't know that we can prevent them, but what we can do is help them understand what's going on,
Right.
be kind. There are ways that you have to communicate with your teenager, your adolescent. So you have to know when they will communicate, often in a car, at unusual times. You have to listen. My son, who is only 8, has started calling me the texter when I'm with him, and so now I've just put my phone down because he's like, you're supposed to be watching me, so watch me. And I'm like, oh dear. And he's right. Like, I can't be doing my
Well,
work.
that's
I can't.
really kind of smart of him.
It is, and he
knows
deserves
what's
that.
going on.
And if
Well,
he,
observant, right?
Yes.
So
If he knows I'm really listening, he knows I really care.
Hold your hand out.
I should-
Hold it out.
Oh.
Quit it.
That's
Stop
right.
it.
I'm just a normal mom, and that
Right.
helps me in my job.
Absolutely.
I make errors. But so what I have to do is really listen. I have to not fight with them and not be defensive with them. And as much as their opinion may seem goofy or wild to me, I have to listen to it. And we can respectfully agree to disagree, but if they don't think I'm listening to them, they're not going to tell me what I need to hear that will help me help them.
Sure.
But you talking to an 8-year-old boy, is
He's
that as
about a year
productive?
out of puberty, it sounds
Is
like.
that as productive as Dad talking to him about mood swings and self-image and stuff?
I read the most interesting blog about talking to your children about sex, and it was from a mother of 2 boys. And I think she's right. My children feel really comfortable talking to me about everything and less comfortable talking to their dad and stepdad.
Really?
And not because they're not wonderful, but dudes don't talk about stuff. And so
Right.
we're just socialized that way, and women do. So They'll come and they'll ask me things that might be embarrassing, and I'll talk to them about it. Now, they may want to stick a fork in their forehead later when they think about what we were talking about, but I don't care. I want to have the information.
Use a spoon, it doesn't.
But be communicative, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of the key to everything.
It is. And learning how to listen and not argue and be receptive to their ideas. That's
Well, it probably helps to have boys, one boy, one girl at least in the family, because they see this at home.
They do.
Among themselves.
That's right. Well, and that's another thing. For girls, there's this interesting thing where they really need a male role model to build their self-esteem, to do better in work situations. If you're a single mom, that doesn't mean that can't work out, but do find some good role models for them who are males.
I always went to my dad about a job. Whenever I was going to take a job as an adult, I always called my dad about it.
Yes. Let me tell you something else about sex education. It cannot start early enough, and I know a lot of people will get mad at me for that, but they're becoming sexually mature, and they can procreate, some of them a lot earlier than we want.
Sure.
And so it is never too early to talk about what's happening in their bodies and not make it embarrassing or anything like that. You have to let them know.
That's another talk.
Sorry, Jack. We will have that talk.
Boy,
that's right.
You startled me with that one.
Yes, I did, I'm sure.
Well, thank you so much
Martha.
for that.